I know today is a very charged day for most, energetically. Your elections happen for those who lived in the United States. Some are happy, some are not. I think we kind of place a lot of separation between ourselves and people around us when it comes to who we would vote for and who we support. And we look for cliques to join. I find politics more or less like a sport, and you have like these two teams, and then someone's team Republican and someone's team Democrat, and then it's like no one really cares as long as their team wins. It's so interesting. And then when another team wins, the loser team gets angry, frustrated. It's no different to like soccer for Americans, but for the rest of it, it's football. It's no different to football. And if you were living in England and you're a Liverpool fan and you lost to Manchester, you would be pissed. But I guess the magnitude is different when you have like the state of your country at stake. And the US is a big player in the world economy. And a lot of people are watching their politics to see what's going to happen. It's fascinating. But I think the reason the politics is so messy for the States and it's kind of stagnant for the mere fact that it is a sport at this point. We have people who are generational Democrats, who are generational Republicans. The loyalty to these parties are so strong, no other party can flourish. At this point, it's not about politics anymore. It's about my party and my team, who I support. And we're throwing stones at each other if you're on the opposite side. But you have to realize you yourself polarized yourself the moment you identified with a team. You're naturally creating this almost competitive, combatant energy field the moment you decided, I'm Team Democrat or I'm Team Republican. Because of how the structure is currently, you're just supporting a sports team. And no one wants to hear that because everyone thinks that the politics is much bigger than sports. But is it really? It's a bunch of human emotions supporting an ideology or a figure. Kind of reminds me of like the biblical talk of worshiping false idols. A team is an idol, and you align yourself with that idol for various reasons. But once you've aligned yourself with it, you become blinded by that idol. That's all you ever see. That's why fandoms can be very toxic. But all this to say, if your team lost, please breathe, take deep breaths. You are not the team. And if the other team has won, take care of yourself first. I know there's immediate rush of emotion. There's immediate rush of panic because we want to make the other team so much the enemy. That is what sports does. That's what team does. That's what fandoms do. We make anything else that isn't our party the enemy. And the moment you do that, you destroy your internal peace completely. You just wreck it. So come back to center. Come back to center. Even if you were on the other team that won, if you're on the team that lost, come back to center. Don't polarize yourself too much. You're going to create a lot of negativity for yourself, your surroundings, the world, because you are very important to the balance of this universe, even if you might not think so, because you are worthy, you're valuable. Okay, so you have a team that won. The funny thing about politics and leadership, especially when it comes to anything that has an election, that's any democratic, it's a bit better than a dictatorship. But the issue you're going to have is that the leader will always reflect the people. The leader will always reflect the awareness of the people. So even though the people might be struggling, they will only choose someone who can resonate with them, who they can understand. And the psychology of America currently is capitalism. So they're going to look at, well, I understand the current president, Donald Trump, like he's a capitalist, he's here to make money. He's going to bring money back to us. That's the level of thinking they would believe because that's what they understand. You can't choose anything different outside of your current realm of awareness. And Unfortunately, if you look at America, its awareness is solely capitalism, a lot of greed, too much greed, but that's because of capitalism. And also violence, per se, if you look at shootings and that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that's all of America. The funny thing about America is that you can find very smart people scattered around the country, but I find that that's not necessarily the majority. The majority energy is very polarized towards capitalism, you know, pyramid scheming, standing on top. That's the energy of America. So it only makes sense that that energy will elect a leader that it understands. So I find it funny because we have these two teams, the Republicans and Democrats, and they have people like cheering for both teams and they feel like so attached to a team. But again, they're stuck in the same energy of capitalism and dominance. The difference is the Republicans feel a bit more strongly about the safety of, I would call it white America, or true citizenship, I would call it. It's a very funny thing. I don't really understand it that much. I'm not really American. They believe strongly that other people who aren't supposed to be there disrupt the natural flow and their own wealth. I don't believe the whole Republican Party is just a bunch of, racist Nazis. I don't really believe that. They just have more conservative views on how their country should be run. And that's fine. But the point of all this is, at the end of the day, the whole foundation of their economy is capitalism. Both Democrats and Republicans, they're looking for a way to make America wealthy and strong, which is what all countries want. I didn't come on video today to talk about politics, though. Ironically enough, it's just that today's such a big day for America. It kind of bleeds over into everything else across the world. And what I really wanted to talk about was self-care and how important it is for us. And it's even more important now that there are lots of people feeling all sorts of emotions due to this election and due to their team winning or losing. But for me personally, I realize I put self-care on the back burner because I feel I should be more productive, or I feel like I should be making the most of my time. And I find that funny because that basically says in your unconscious mind that self-care is not important because there are other things to do. There's, money to make, there's pleasure to be had. And all of that is higher up the list than self-care. But self-care technically should be the foundation of your life because you need to be healthy in order to make money. You need to be healthy in order to enjoy life properly. It's very hard to enjoy life when you're either sick mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you're sick in. If you're sick, it's very hard to fully enjoy and embrace life because there's always going to be something that's holding you back from being the best version of yourself. And we tend to put self-care on the back burner because we fear it takes up too much time. That is wild. And I wonder if that's another effect of capitalism, where if you're not busy or productive, you're not worthwhile. So you're always focusing on your self-worth through productivity instead of taking care of your body and your mind. And the funny thing is, because we want to be so productive, we go to the extreme of, okay, let's be really stressed, really productive, and then swing all the way back to pleasure because we feel like we have no time for ourselves and we don't have any pleasurable activities. It's like the more stress you feel, the more pleasure you want. Because stress doesn't feel good. Like it really doesn't feel good. Like your body knows it's not right. Extreme stress, I mean. A little bit of stress is okay, but extreme stress, which is what we do for the sake of money. And then our body is like, oof, I feel terrible. And what do? We say, I need more pleasure to counterbalance all of that stress. Because sitting still doesn't feel as good, doesn't feel like it did enough to feel good. So pleasure for us, we think of it as a reward for hard work and stress. And we jump into our vices of either that's drugs or sex or binging television or playing games. Because for us, we feel like if we put in all of this work, we should really be rewarded something nice. Because that's how dopamine works. That's how the brain works. The more energy you put into something, the more reward you mentally expect. And then we go back into like our vices when we've worked too hard. And then we have no space for self-care. So what is self-care? For me, I define self-care as balance, health, joy, and peace. Those 4 things. Health and balance are the 2 most important things you could have in your life. And we neglect it. We neglect them. We take for granted how good it feels to be in balance, how good it feels to be healthy until we're not. Until we're pushing deadlines, until we have a flu. Like you're breathing normally right now, hopefully, out of both nostrils. Imagine if one was blocked and you were sick for cold. We only appreciate health when we are not healthy. We only appreciate health when we are not healthy. So for me, an example of being healthy or self-care, for example, would be meditation, because that takes care of my mental health. If I wake up every morning and I meditate, that sets the tone for me for the rest of the day. I know I took care of something very vital to myself, my mental. Exercise is another example of self-care. You're taking care of your physical body, making it stronger, so you'll be less sick and more able to perform better in life. Another example, journaling. That's great for emotional health. Writing down your emotions and feeling them can help you throughout your day to be more non-reactive and more centered. Another aspect of self-care, I would say spiritual health as well. But you can tie that in with meditation. Being present, being aware, strengthens your spirit. Makes you feel deeper at peace. Makes you more at peace with life. Makes you more at peace with death. It just brings you back to a more stable being. We take for granted self-care because we've been taught that the only thing that matters is results. The only thing that matters is that we contribute to society and we make money. It's like if you don't take care of yourself, you build up toxicity within your body. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Self-care helps to relieve that. And I have to remind myself that if I want to evolve in this life, if I want to be happier, if I want to be stable, I need to take self-care from the bottom and put it right at the top. Remembering what true self-care is. Because a lot of us think self-care is pleasure. It is not. Self-care is taking care of your physical body, your mental health, your emotional health, and if you believe, your spiritual health. So this whole ramble about politics and self-care, I hope it helped you a little bit. Because I know what I need to focus on more now. I need to take self-care a lot more seriously and stop saying it's not that important, because that's what I'm doing mentally when I put it behind everything else, whether that's making YouTube videos, thinking about money, about jobs, even about, I don't know, baking or cleaning my house. Making sure you are healthy is the best thing you can do for yourself and the world. Because trust me, your friends and your family will always prefer a healthy version of you. But that's it for today. If you like my content, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of me. And yeah, let me know how you will take care of yourself in the future. Thanks for watching.